President Biden's issued a full and unconditional pardon for his son, Hunter Biden, Sunday evening, just days before Hunter was set to be sentenced for his federal gun conviction in a separate tax evasion case. In a statement, President Biden said, quote, "The charges in his cases came about only after several of my political opponents in Congress instigated them to attack me and oppose my election. No reasonable person who looks at the facts of Hunter's cases can reach any other conclusion than Hunter was singled out only because he is my son, and that is wrong." Biden went on to write, quote, "I believe in the justice system, but as I have wrestled with this, I also believe raw politics has infected this process and it led to a miscarriage of justice," unquote. President Biden and his aides had repeatedly said Hunter Biden would not be pardoned. This is Biden in June being interviewed by ABC's David Muir.
As we sit here in Normandy, your son Hunter is on trial, and I know that you cannot speak about an ongoing federal prosecution. But let me ask you, will you accept the jury's outcome, their verdict, no matter what it is?
Yes.
And have you ruled out a pardon for your son?
Yes.
You have.
White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre has also repeatedly denied the president would pardon his son.
From a presidential perspective, is there any possibility that the president would end up pardoning his son?
No.
Well, is there?
I just said no. I just answered. Go ahead. Go ahead.
First briefing since Hunter was indicted again in Los Angeles. Why doesn't President Biden just pardon him?
President, I've been very clear. The president's not going to pardon his son.
Again, you've also said several times that the president would not pardon or commute the sentence for his son, Hunter. I just want to make sure that that is not going to change over the next 6 months. The president's saying he would not.
It's still a no. It's still a no.
It will always be a no.
It's still a no. It will be a no. It is a no, and I don't have anything else to add. Will he pardon his son? No.
President Biden's decision to pardon his son comes as President-elect Donald Trump prepares to take office after campaigning in part on prosecuting his political enemies while also vowing to pardon Trump supporters who participated in the January 6th insurrection. Over the weekend, Trump picked Kash Patel to head the FBI. Patel has vowed to go after what he calls conspirators in the government and media. Trump also picked the real estate developer Charles Kushner to be U.S. ambassador to France. Kushner is Trump's in-law. He is the father of Trump's son-in-law, Jared Kushner. In 2020, Trump pardoned Charles Kushner, who spent 14 months in federal prison after pleading guilty to 16 charges of tax evasion and witness tampering in the 2000s. We begin today's show with Mehdi Hasan, the editor-in-chief of the new media website Zeteo. Thanks for joining us again, Mehdi. First, your response to President Biden pardoning Hunter, a total unconditional pardon going back to 2014.
It is a sweeping pardon, as you just mentioned, and you played the clips. I think we can hold multiple thoughts in our head at one time on Hunter Biden. Number one, did Joe Biden lie when he said he wouldn't pardon Hunter Biden? Clearly he did. Is he a hypocrite for saying no one is above the law and then putting his son above the law? Yes. Should the presidency be used to protect family members? No. I think we can all agree on those points. Having said that, the kind of outrage from Republicans and some in the media is a little bit kind of ridiculous. We all know that Hunter Biden was targeted. The president is right when he says that they went after his son because he was his son. Anyone called Hunter Smith wouldn't have been prosecuted in the same way for the tax evasion and the gun form that many people get wrong or provide incorrect information on. And as for the Republicans kind of crying foul right now, you have Kash Patel. I know we're going to talk about Kash Patel, who is a Trump toady who's about to be appointed FBI director if he can get through the Senate. He's on record saying he's going to go after the Bidens. The Republicans have made very clear they plan to carry on going after the Biden family. So is it understandable that Joe Biden is trying to protect his son from future investigations? It is understandable. That doesn't make it right. But come on, as you mentioned as well a moment ago, Amy, Charles Kushner is about to become ambassador to France. He is the father-in-law of Ivanka Trump, who Trump pardoned in December 2020. So, you know, let's just get rid of the presidential pardon power, which would require a constitutional amendment. I think that's the source of all the corruption.
And of course, as we talk about pardons, I mean, it would be very interesting to see President Biden, very significant pardon, for example, Leonard Peltier, or talk about pardons or commutations for people on federal death row. Biden himself has said he's against the death penalty.
So you've got about 40 people, I believe, still on the federal death row. Yes, pardon them now, because we remember when Donald Trump was leaving office last time, he actually escalated executions at the federal level at a rate we hadn't seen before for several years. So yes, pardon 40 people on death row, pardon 3,000 people in prison, Amy, on federal marijuana offenses, outdated, ridiculous marijuana offenses. Pardon them, not just your own, former addict son. There's so much a president could do with the presidential pardon power for good. We saw Trump misuse it in all sorts of ways for people like Paul Manafort and Charles Kushner and Roger Stone. Now we're seeing Joe Biden misuse it for his own son. Even if it is understandable, it's still wrong. Why not use it for a good cause? But as I say, I would rather get rid of the pardon power, but of course we can't do that without a constitutional amendment.